Simplifying our wallet, Amex tightens, and American Airlines is clawing back those miles. All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel.
I think they actually did a good job this time, though. I'm surprised to say that about American.
So happy Thursday, Mark. I hope that you're not too smoky up there with all the fires up in Canada.
Yeah, it's been crazy, especially we're out at the cottage, so we're in the thumb, even though some people say it's not the thumb, but it is the thumb. Uh, and it hit here first, and it just got to the Detroit area like last night, but it's been here for like a day and a half. When you go outside, it feels like you're walking inside of a campfire. Like when it gets really smoky and you start saying the white rabbit thing to get the smoke away. That's what it feels like everywhere. It's kind of crazy. And go down to the beach, you can't really see too far. It feels like fog, but just you're breathing in smoke. So not the greatest. It happens. It seems like every summer something in Canada burns and it ends up here, but this is probably worse than I can remember, at least anytime recently. And it's just kind of hanging around. It's still here 2 days later. I don't know when it's supposed to fully move out, but we were at 100-degree heat, which we're not used to. Usually it's like 80, 85, and it's been 100 the last week or so. After a week before that was 100, and now we have this smoky stuff. It's been kind of a crazy July.
Well, I saw a crazy video from that fire of this train, and I think it went viral on Twitter and stuff. People might have seen it, but the conductors are inside the train, inside the front of the engine, and they're waiting for another train to pass them, and they're just completely engulfed with fire. And then the video does end. They did get out safely. I heard that they had to abandon the train and then run down the tracks. I didn't confirm that, but just the visual of them being inside, and they're so calm with their Canadian accents, just so polite and calm, waiting for the fire. I would have been freaking out.
I don't know that I'd get out. I don't know if that's like I haven't seen the video, so maybe the fire isn't behind the train and it's kind of working a different way or whatever. But if it's like on all sides, I'd rather power through and have a vehicle can just kind of plow through all this and get it going versus running on tracks. But maybe there was nothing back where they came from.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't see that part where they did it. We saw the part where they're stopped and they're telling the other train, like, get through here because they're on a part where they're having to pass. And then you finally see the train pass. But anyway, yeah, crazy stuff. And it does seem like I mean, are wildfires worse than they used to be? Or are we just getting more coverage? Is social media amplifying it like so many other things?
It just seems like California, Utah a year or two ago had it really bad. Canada always has it. Maybe we were better at wildfire prevention back in the day. Maybe we'll put more money into it, more time and effort. I know that was always the critique of the Palisades fire was they didn't do enough prevention work and they didn't have the money to do it, or they didn't spend the money to do it, and they didn't have the reservoir and all of those things. So like at what point do we just, hey, let's start taking this more seriously and let's do what we can to mitigate this as much as possible. Yeah, there's always going to be a fire here or there because you can't stop everything, especially in Canada with the vast amount of forests they have. But there are things that we could do better, and we're not doing them.
Yeah, my dad lost his house in the campfire, and that was because of a transformer and uncleared brush and all of that. So it is a real deal, and it's affecting so many people's lives. And yeah, we have to complain about the smoke and stuff when it comes. And I remember last year, like the New Yorkers complaining about the smoke because it came down there, and it's not usual. We usually have that in Nevada with the California fires, but just a reminder that on the ground, these are people's lives that are affected. And it is so devastating, not only in the moment, but the years after, as something that my own family went through when this happened. So not to bring this all down, but you're the one who wanted to talk about forest fires. But yeah, it's crazy though. It just seems like every year it's these massive fires. Maybe it was always happening, but it is a lot of investment that you need in order to keep things safe.
Yeah, imagine like just the insurance costs and all of that stuff and how high all insurance rates go just because they are having these fires and replacing so many things. I don't even think the building has started in California now, and that's kind of crazy to think about. Maui had those fire years ago. I don't think that that's fully rebuilt yet. So it takes a long time to get back to it, and you never get all the way back, and there's people that lose their lives too. So it's tough, and we need to do a better job of uh, doing what we can. Maybe put more money towards forest prevention. Those workers are doing their best, but they're so understaffed and everything else that this should be a focus. And if we can't get it as a focus now after all that's happened, maybe we never will.
Well, we can't solve all the world's problems today, so let's just complain about AA. We talked about the AA business deal where you just input a code, whether you were a new customer or an old customer, and it gave you 25,000 Advantage miles, and then you were even able to transfer those into your personal AA account from the business account, and you hope that maybe that would all stick, and it didn't.
Yeah, they came back like a day or two later and said, "Hey, if anybody transferred out, we reversed it from this day to this day at this time, and you shouldn't have gotten those miles. Our apology. Here's 5,000 miles," which kind of was like the best that I think it could have worked out. I mean, the best is they let you keep it, but we knew that that wouldn't be the case. This would have been probably in the tens to hundreds of millions of miles that went out because so many people were jumping on this and it was so easy, but it still probably cost them tens of millions of miles on the $5,000 apology. But there weren't account shutdowns, or at least haven't been. I don't think they will because it's such a widespread thing. But this is kind of what you're hoping for. This is why you do these things. You realize it probably won't work out. 2-3% of the time, it does work out. But even when it doesn't, I'd say half the time, they usually give you some sort of apology compensation. So this was nice. And it was really the difference. I think I had 198,000 miles in my account before this 5,000 bump. And then I booked those Japan flights for, I think, 201,000 miles. So I would have had to buy miles or figure something else out to be able to book those flights. So they ended up being kind of a little mini lifesaver for me.
Yeah, I think it's a good move on their part, and this is something businesses should look to when you make a mistake. Maybe you can justify saying, "Okay, well, it was our mistake, and we're not going to give you anything." But it is probably better if you can give something, and people will understand that. And look at you; you're happy with the 5,000. That's your takeaway from it, instead of being. And I guess there are people in the world who be like, give me the 25K. It was your mistake. Blah 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 blah. But I think most people are happy with some sort of make good, and it seems like they did the right thing here instead of just coming back and taking them and saying you're out of luck.
Yeah, I mean, we see it with hotels now that are not opening on time, and we had a comment about this in the Diamond Group a week or two ago. Like a Hyatt hotel isn't going to be done in time. I think it's in Rome, and they were basically like, "Sorry," and this was 6 weeks out, 5 weeks out, something like that. That's not great in the summertime in Rome. Like finding another hotel to book, it's going to be costly. And we talked about Ventana walking a globalist, and then being kind of cheap on what they offered. Initially was super cheap, and they just start getting like worse and worse about this. So AA doing something that is reasonable. I mean, they could have done 2,500 miles. And I think people would have been okay with it. So doing 5,000, and if you had a spouse do it as well, that's 10,000 for your household. You could transfer them to the same account because the business accounts transfer to employees. So that's 10,000 miles per household for free. I mean, you can't beat that.
Can we go back and talk about Hyatt for a second and why they don't provide compensation on these hotels? Because for a while they were overly generous, and they had some hotels that were continually getting delayed, and they would offer these incredible compensation packages, free nights, all this stuff. And then some strategic travel hackers started they started booking all the new hotels in order to see if they would not open on time, and then they would just cancel their reservations if they did open on time. And I think Hyatt got wind of that, and that's what I think did the change. Maybe not, but that is what I've heard.
Yeah, and I mean, I got 40,000 miles when Baja Mar didn't open on time, or 40,000 points, I should say. And that was cool. And I was like, oh man. And this was a month or two out, and I just booked the Hilton that used to be in town there, and I was fine with it, and that worked out well. But I think you still need to offer to move them to another Hyatt hotel. If that's the case, you say, hey, even if it's more expensive, we're going to give it to you at the same price. And if it's cheaper, we're going to give you the difference, maybe throw a little bit on top. And that will kind of weed out the people that aren't going to stay. They'll just say, you know what, I'll cancel it. But you have to at least move them to another hotel in the area and book it for them and say, this is what we did. If it's sold out, then start talking to competitors or whatever. You need to figure out a way to get them a room and at least offer it up. And if they say no, that's fine. But you can't just say, oh, sorry.
Yeah, be reasonable on both sides. Be reasonable as the customer, and then expect them to be reasonable with you, and it all works. Unless you're going to Olive Garden and you're using the Pasta Pass, then you should just be super nice to them. And now I'm mad because Mark scheduled a meeting for when the Pasta Pass goes on sale, so now I can't go buy one. but there's only 10,000 of them available, and they're going to still be $100. And for people who, are you thinking to yourself, I haven't heard of the Pasta Pass in the last few years? Olive Garden has this unlimited Pasta Pass, but it has not been around since 2020. 6 years it's been gone, and it was $100 back then, and it's $100 now. And of course, it's going to sell out in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I was kind of shocked because I had totally forgotten about this, and I think the last time we wrote about it on Miles to Memory was 2019, and I pulled that up, and it was still $100, and it was for 9 weeks, and this one's for 13 weeks, and in 2018 it was for only 8 weeks, and it was still $100. And think of how much further $100 went back in 2018 versus now. Like it feels like $50 now, and then you're adding almost like double the weeks, or you're adding 50% more weeks. That's just an insane deal. I mean, you only really need to dine 5 or 6 times to hit the break even point. If you add, and that it's 6.5 times, I think, if you just eat the pasta. If you add protein, which is included, which is kind of nice, that's an extra $5 normally, I believe. So that cuts it down to even less, like 5 times. So if you can get this and you don't mind Olive Garden, it's not the greatest, but if you don't mind it, then this is a really good deal.
And of course, you get the soup, salad, and breadsticks as well. Yeah, it's a great deal, and 10,000 of them will go in just about a second. But it was a great deal a few years ago, and as you point out, it is an incredible. I mean, it's been elevated up to, I mean, you could get thousands of dollars of value from this $100.
I know me and Benji are both thinking that we're going to go for it. Hopefully the meeting's done. I might just like kind of pull it up during the meeting. I don't know, but we'll see how that goes. And if we both get it, oh, I'm sure there will be like a little competition going on who can be the most gluttonous with this thing. No more tank tops for Benji after the Pasta Pass.
This episode is brought to you by our partner Melio, and they have this great offer. We've talked about it for a while. $200 gift card after making your first payment of $500.
Yeah, and they recently changed it to a gift card payout, but it kind of streamlines things, and they have great options like Amazon and Target. So it's cash-like for you, and all you have to do is make a $500 payment. If you've signed up for a business credit card, you are eligible for this. It has to be a business-to-business payment, but you're making payments all the time. You're paying your cell phone bill. You're paying your utilities. You're paying your electric bill. Just pay it $500. You get a $200 gift card. That's 40% off this payment. And then you open up a whole new opportunity for you to earn miles and points on payments that you couldn't normally make. 40% off, $500 payment is insane. Grab the deal. If you use our link, it's a great way to support us too.
So let's talk American Express, Mark. And they squeezed the wheels on their streaming digital entertainment credit here, specifically on Peacock. I guess Peacock was selling bundle packages where you could also get Apple TV Plus included. And American Express does not want you to have Apple TV Plus included. So they tweaked the terms a little bit to say bundles are not included, but everything else is still the same. Some good value with the Disney Plus bundle and all of that as well. So still there, just no Apple TV for you.
Yeah, if you have that one and you've been taking advantage, just change it or make the adjustments, move it to something else, or decouple the bundle so you can still get some of it free that you need. But it does stink that they're going after this. If it's sold from the vendor that they worked with, you're just like, hey, you got to take it. You just have to deal with it. That's your fault.
And this is probably Peacock, honestly, coming back to them and saying, hey, we have to split this with Apple and the economics are not the same, and whatever marketing split they have with American Express for this credit, because again, American Express is not paying them the full amount of the subscription. That's just not happening. So yeah, it just probably doesn't make sense. And my guess is, on the technology side, they've probably fixed this if they added the rule, although maybe you'll get lucky and they just added the rule and they didn't change anything and it'll still code correctly, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, and all I know is I need to like rework all of my subscriptions. I have them all tied up in these random things, and some of them are from my cell phone company as a part of my wireless bill. And they just came back because I originally signed up for Sprint, became T-Mobile. Now T-Mobile is saying, "Hey, we're doing away with your setup. We're going to cut this and cut that, and then you're going to have to pay more." So I'm moving. I got to make that change. But a couple of my subscription, I don't even know what I'm subscribed for anymore. I need to go through and start taking advantage of all these perks. So I need to sit down and really hammer this out. What do we need? What can I do? Maybe I'll write something up of what we come up with. But I'm kind of looking forward to it because it's been such a mess for so long.
I think everybody watching the show at some point has had to have found a streaming subscription that they forgot about, that they were paying and not using. I mean, I hate to admit that I have. I have to say Rocket Money, and this is not an ad for Rocket Money or anything, but it is good at that. I know
It
that
could
they,
be.
they
Let us know. What's up,
yeah,
Rocket?
Rocket Money, reach out. But I did sign up for Rocket Money at some point, and I added everything to it. And because of this, I wanted to see where there were some subscriptions that I wasn't noticing, and there were a few. Most of the stuff I knew, but streaming was one that kind of slipped by. And I think we had two of one of the streaming services. We had two subscriptions to it, and then caught it there. So I don't know. It's a mess. It used to be
How
easy
does
just
that
to have
work?
the
Do you have
cable
to
bill.
like do you have to add like all your credit cards to it and then it scrubs your bills, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, and we can maybe talk about it in depth on another show at another time. But yeah, you just link all your bank accounts to it, so your login for your major credit cards. But it's a nice place to see everything at once too. It's a money app, right? So you can put all your net worth, all your investments. But you could also just do credit cards if you want to as well. So you can choose which accounts get added. So like for example, if you had a Chase bank account and a credit card, and you did the login with Plaid or whatever and linked it, you could choose just to link the credit card if you didn't want all your banking information as well. So you can use it as a credit card tool. And there's other tools that do this as well. But I do like Rocket Money. It is a good product.
All right. Let's get that sponsorship.
And let's talk technology again with American Express, because one of the interesting things with them is the ability to have multiple logins where you could have Amex offers and multiple logins for different cards. It used to be much easier, and then on some levels, it doesn't always work. But as a person, you could have separate personal and business logins. You could put a card on its own login. You could have 10 logins. It didn't matter. And American Express didn't always see everything between the logins if you were one person. And that is now changing. It does seem like now they have the ability to link everything together on the back end. So if you're not supposed to be targeted for something on one account, then you're not going to get it on the other account, all that sort of stuff. So this is a downgrade for users. Although I used to have so many logins, Mark, and I just went down to pretty much only having two. And so it's not as much a deal for me. Although I guess now with two, it's not good either.
Yeah, and I think this is the case even with people that have like different membership rewards accounts between their cards and stuff. And there's all kinds of things I'm guessing that they do that for. I never got into it because I'm like, I don't want to have. I get pissed at City that I have to have a business login and a personal login. Like I hate it so much, and I think they just started changing that if I'm not mistaken. But it always frustrated me that I had to remember two things. You don't even get me started with U.S. Bank. They set you up with a new account every time you sign up for a business card because they give you like a corporate account, and that's all different. And I have like all these different law. I hate it. I want to close half of my cards with U.S. Bank just because of that. It's so frustrating, and getting them to merge it is a pain in the butt. So definitely didn't do this with American Express, but it's a bummer for the people that did to kind of take advantage of things. But this is why we talk about stuff like card pointers, where you can add all your things at one time, all your offers at one time, and maybe this is a way for them to catch on to that, and maybe this is toward the beginning of the end for all those apps that do those things. But it, ride it while you can, I guess.
And just a shout out to the old days of Amex offers and linking them with Twitter accounts. Oh my God, I had so many Twitter accounts, like hundreds of Twitter accounts, different logins for everything. But then you could get, well, I don't know if I had hundreds, I had dozens of Twitter accounts. And I mean, just having something like card pointers is cool. And we've worked with them before, but this isn't an ad or anything again. But having to be able to automate all that in a way is really cool. And as you said, hopefully this will get around the whole thing. Although I suspect this is why American Express is doing it, is not to duplicate offers and to be able to have a better overall picture of their customer.
Yeah, and I think there's still usefulness even if they do get to that point where it only gets added to one card and things like that. But I don't even go look at Amex offers anymore, which is shame on me. You should just add them all to whatever card you use the most because you never know, you might trigger something. But I used to love Amex offers, especially when you could add them to all your cards. Like, but I feel like they were a bit better back then. The Staples ones, 20 off of 50 type of stuff, or Lowe's 20 off of 100, and you can just go buy third-party gift cards and trigger them, and then people got hit with that big bill from Staples because they had 100 or so different Amex offers, so they got the bill for like $1,000. That was, man, it had to be like 10 years ago now. I don't think they've done anything similar since, but those were the times.
Oh yeah, the Smart and Final Amex offer. I think that was a good one where you could use it. I think that was the first one you could use multiple times and then get that across dozens of cards. Those were the days. It was a fun time. You got those dopamine hits too, and those small business Saturdays where you could use the card,
Yep.
for $10 each, go buy a gift. Oh my God. And yeah, it's not as good as it used to be, and that's just the maturation of everything. But there is definitely still value there with the Amex offers. It's just not, it used to be the right offer could come along, Mark, and that meant thousands of dollars of value to us.
Yeah, I mean, people, I think it was miles per day. He flew. It was some Texas grocery store Amex offer that he had on enough cards that was worth flying down there and hitting him up. And we talked about years ago how the Meyer promo came along and people from Texas came and depleted every Meyer store in Metro Detroit of Best Buy gift cards and stuff. So there are offers that are worth even traveling for. Maybe not as much as it used to be, but you got to jump on them when they do come around.
Is this the time we talk about simplifying our wallets after talking about
Yeah.
traveling around for deals? But this is an article from our buddy Grant, Travel with Grant. Shout out to him. Haven't talked to him in a while, but he's been doing this for a very, very, very long time, just like us. And he kind of wrote out like which cards he canceled, which cards he still has. I thought it was really interesting because he's trying to simplify, obviously, his wallet. That's what we're talking about. But he still has so many cards. He didn't get rid of enough, I don't think.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I closed these 5 and then I opened 5 new ones and I downgraded 4. And it doesn't sound that much more simplified, but I think he's trying to focus on cards that make sense to him, not chasing all these little credits here and there, like we see with these the pays promos and stuff like that, or just the Amex Business Platinum and Personal Platinum and all the hoops that are involved when you have those cards. He's trying to focus on cards that are easy for him to use. Like he lives on the West Coast, so the Alaska Companion Pass is easy for him to use. Not easy for me to use. The Delta one's a lot easier for me to use. So that's the differences between there. But I think he fell into the same trap we all do. We say we're going to get rid of cards. I had $8,000 in annual fees last year, and I said, I'm going to get that down. Like we need to get down to like 4 or 5,000. And then I add like Palladium cards and another Biz Platinum and another Biz Gold, and it just happens. Like we're too greedy on the signups. It will never be simplified, I don't think.
Well, that's one thing to really look at it when you're looking at this is you can't really compare a card in the first year where you got a welcome offer and then just put that annual fee in there and then it's a headline number of my annual fee is this big, but you did get some other value to offset that. Now going forward past that first year, then it becomes something. I did notice he doesn't have any like huge annual fee cards, right? His biggest annual fee is $450, and a lot of it is strategy with like free night certs, the companion fares like you're talking about. So he does seem to have a reason for all of it. And I like Grant. I think people should read his site and follow him because I think when first off, he does a great job of sharing his thought process. He always has over all these years, but he will lay out his thinking and exactly what he's doing. And I think it's a great example to follow in this space.
Yeah, he was really the first one to start writing about Amex offers way back when, like 2015, 2016. And he was kind of ahead of the game with everybody else. That I remember like going to his site and just that was where all the Amex offers got dumped. And then we started writing about it. Dr. of Credit started writing about it. Danny the Deal Guru, and then everybody started writing about it. Frequent Mile, it became, it's just, if there's a good offer, pretty much every blog everywhere is going to cover it. But he was the first one to really whenever they drop Monday, let's say Monday, every Monday going in there and checking for the newest offers and sharing them. So kudos to him for doing that. And I remember talking to him at Chicago seminars. And I was like, hey man, really appreciate what you've done with the Amex offers and covering them. And he's like, yeah, I wish everybody else didn't start doing it too.
He is one of the good ones in this space, having known him for like over 10 years now and met him several times in person. And I love that he continues to do this. Obviously has other things that he does in life, but that he continues to update it. And it's more of like a personal blog, I guess, at this point, as far as his own personal stuff. He's not like covering every deal every day. And so he definitely should be added to your read list.
Yeah, for sure. He always has an interesting perspective and does a really good job of breaking down like how he got there, what he's doing, and is a good follow. And it's always something that's thoughtful when he comes out with it.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Did AA do right by their customers? Did you get the Pasta Pass? Are you looking forward to using that? American Express multiple logins, is that a huge deal for you? And how are you simplifying your wallet? How is that going for you, by the way? Is it as much a struggle for you as it is for us? Let us know down in the comments. We do 2 shows a week, and we'll be back on Tuesday with another show. Make sure to check us out on our Vegas channel as well. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody, or weekend. Party.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and